everyone. Welcome back to Hot DisabiliTea. And I'm Kristen. I am beyond thrilled for this one. My guest today is a playwright, actor, disability advocate whose autobiographical work has completely reshaped how disability, sexuality, and desire get talked about on stage. He has won the Obie Award for the Best New American Play for Dark Disabled Stories. He's been seen on Netflix's The Politician and Hulu's A Murder at the End of the World. And right now, he is just starting up for rehearsals for his new play called Good Time Charlie, which is his first multi-character work inspired by his own Uncle Charlie, who was gay, and it is opening at the Public Theater on September 24th. Welcome to Hot Disability, Ryan Haddad.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Oh, wow. What an intro. Thank you.
Well, and what for our blind and low vision audience, let's get a quick verbal description of ourselves. I'm a white lady with wavy brown hair about to my shoulders, and I am wearing a white T-shirt with a taupe background in my apartment. If you could give one of yourself, please.
Of course, I'm a man of Lebanese descent. Short, let me, I'm a man of Lebanese descent with short black hair that has little bits of gray in it. I'm wearing round glasses and I have a lilac t-shirt on, and behind me is my sofa with a rainbow blanket that my mom made and a wall of family photos behind me.
I love it. And, that's the perfect intro because Good Time Charlie, with it being your first multi-character play, and it's about your family. So great that you just talked about the family photos, your Uncle Charlie, your parents, your friends. What made right now the time to bring all of these guys into your work?
Well, it's been a long right now. This play has been in development for 9 years. And so it's interesting because, I wrote my first solo play and then I did a couple of other little things, but this was the second big endeavor. So it was
Okay.
it was really going to be like solo play and then multi-character, right? And I then other plays just sort of took off in other directions and sort of raced ahead of this one. So Dark Disabled Stories certainly came first in New York, and that had a three-person cast, but it was all still monologue based, and
Right.
so there were two people on stage with me, but we weren't playing characters. We were playing versions of ourselves. Or Dickie was sort of mirroring me in ASL playing Ryan, and then stepped into Dickie role and didn't come back out of it. But but I was still making monologues. Hold on. And then Hold Me in the Water, which of course I know that I saw you after the performance.
Mhm.
At Hold Me in the Water was back to a solo. So it felt, I've been on this journey in a certain order of developing these works, and yet the viewing audience, or the New York viewing audience, was receiving them in a totally different order than the way that they sort of came from my brain. So this one has taken a long time to get to this point, to get to production. However, I also have grown so much as a writer. Since I was 25 when I did the first draft. September 1st, 2017 was the first draft. So
Wow.
my voice is more muscular, my insights are sharper, my understanding of both myself and these characters, because this is the first time when you say multi-character, it's like I have always sort of honored my own biography,
Exactly.
autobiography. And now I'm holding, eight other characters on stage with me who I love dearly, who are family and or, adjacent family to me. um, who I'm really trying to honor and
Mm-hmm.
and and say thank you for making me the person I am. And yet, it's a family drama. It's not, it's a comedy. It's very funny. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of humor and there's drama. It's a family drama. So in order to do that about people that you know and love, um, you gotta go deep and you've gotta examine some things that were not always the prettiest and the shiniest and the most fun in
Yeah.
order to find the heart and tell the story with really robust care for these people and not trying to watercolor anyone or anything.
Yeah. Gosh, my eyes are already watered up. I haven't even gotten to the show. You know what it is? I think because I've seen all of your work.
Yeah.
And I've also watched you grow, and so it's just getting to me to watch you golly, to watch you evolve. I mean, your work has it's been such a joy and privilege to watch you evolve and see your work change, all the while with it being messy. I mean, all of your works have not been, oh, this is so great, I mean,
No,
and
no, no.
that's what I truly do love about your work, which has been very brave and vulnerable to do from the get-go. So
Yeah. Yeah.
let me regroup here. So
Oh,
you're playing yourself
yeah.
as the supporting second banana, right? Is that correct?
I mean, it's very interesting. The play
Oh,
is the play's about a family, my family putting on a play in the way
yes.
that I
Okay.
um in the way that I used to in childhood. We did plays in my backyard, living room,
Oh,
backyard, basement, the stage of the community center from the ages of 5 to 13. It was called the Haddad Theater. Um,
oh,
and we would do, it would just be like riffs on Disney movies or musicals or mostly movies because that's what I had access to. I was going to see plays, but certainly not with the frequency that I do now here. And we would just do our little like light adaptations that were miniature in size and scale. And then they got bigger and my ideas got bigger and sometimes they got out of control and out of hand and like they weren't they weren't particularly great all the time because I my ambitions were bigger than our ability to execute the shows. Right? So this play is a it's an homage to that because
hmm,
the family in the play knows they're in a play and they
okay.
know and they're putting on a play set in a backyard. It's it
Oh,
it's set in Charlie's backyard, but we know that we're on the stage, right? We know that we're off Broadway now. So the stakes are higher and we've made it look like a backyard, but we're on this off Broadway stage. And so everyone and these are the stories of their lives. So everyone has an opinion about
right.
how they're being shown, what should be shown. Oh, it wasn't like this. All of that. And I'm the writer. The character of Ryan is the writer of this play within the play, right? But the play
Oh,
within but in terms of it, I think personally, the character of Ryan in this, you know, this fictional one night only performance. I'm saying things now before first rehearsal, so who knows what details are going to change in the script over the next
yes.
5 or 6 weeks. But, you know, I think that he thinks that he is the star with Charlie, that they have equal that they have equal billing and that they have equal real estate, and it's my show too, you know. So I'll leave it to you to decide if Ryan is a supporting character opposite Charlie, or if you know who sort of wins that who sort of takes the trophy for leading performer. Is it Charlie or is it Ryan? Who knows?
I love it. I love it. That sounds very realistic as you back then, a typical uncle, it's like this is about me, so
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely can picture that. That will be very interesting. So what, I guess is that really, I actually don't know what you majored in or where you grew up. Did you grow
Oh,
up here in New York?
no, 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 no.
Is this when you
No, no.
decided?
I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay,
And
okay.
I had family who from the beginning, like I said, age 5, we were doing Snow White on the living room floor. And they saw that I had a deep desire to perform. I don't even want
Uh-huh.
to say tell stories because I was just like watching Cinderella and then doing Cinderella. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Uh,
like I just wanted to be in the spotlight. And they knew that. And instead of dimming the spotlight, they participated in ways that I would venture to say most families do not.
yeah.
Did they think that I was going to really turn this into a professional career? Not sure. You know, one of the things that may or may not come up in the play. You know, did they really think that this was how my life was going to turn out? I'm not sure. But did I? Yes.
Okay.
And and I did because they made me believe that I could. Even if
Oh,
they were sitting there saying, I hope he becomes a banker, or my God, I hope he should really stick to that writing without being on the stage, right? Um, they never led on. So my confidence was like some would say bloated confidence, to be like I can do anything. And and if the world doesn't see me as the star that I know I am in my heart and in my body, then I'm going to make myself one. Um, and you know, that is Ryan's story. And then Charlie's story is that he was from a generation earlier, and he is obsessed with the theater. He's completely devoted to the theater. It is, it's his heartbeat, and he goes and sees everything, and he wants to know about everything. And he comes to New York all the time and has been coming to New York for 40, 50 years because of his deep love of the theater. And yet though he dabbled in it in high school and college, he didn't pursue it. And
mm,
so one of the various dynamics of the play, which I think is not too much of a spoiler because you know it from the minute he steps on stage, is he had some muted and unfulfilled professional desires uh
mm,
that didn't get fulfilled and never were yeah, it was just like he became a dentist and he stayed in the Cleveland area, and he didn't love dentistry, but it helped him have a good life. Have a have a stable life. And so within the play is Ryan's gift to his uncle to say, we're giving you the spotlight. Isn't that wonderful? But sort of also what unfolds is there's a bit of, you have what I couldn't or what I didn't. And how does
mm.
that, how does my being proud of you also shade the way that I view myself and my life choices?
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Now, I'm scared to ask this, but is he still around? Is he still
He
alive?
is. Don't be scared. He is.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, 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 good. I'm thrilled to hear that because yeah, well, and I my first thought when you said the dentist is like it paid for the trips to New York, you know.
Exactly.
So
That's exactly. And honestly, I mean, I have a lot of family back home who took me to see a lot of things, but the being the dentist also paid for his tickets to take me to a lot of the
yeah,
shows, you know?
yeah,
So, like, he made these choices in the 70s and the 80s, and they shaped who I was in the 90s and 2000s, you know? Um,
yeah,
but I just think it would, we explore a dynamic of, you know, um, it's more prickly and more dramatic on stage than it really is in real life. But I do think that there have been things throughout our relationship, especially as I've sort of moved to New York and amassed success in a variety of ways. There have been unspoken things under the surface that I'm like, well, we're going to speak about them because we're on stage, you know?
yes, yes. It makes for good theater for
And
sure.
as you said, all my work, when you said messy, you mean that I have never been afraid to sort of reveal uncomfortable and difficult truths and some bad behavior of mine in all my shows. And ooh, I shouldn't have done that, should I? Or I, don't say I shouldn't have done it, but then the audience is going, ooh, he shouldn't have done that. Ooh, and that's what makes it drama. That's what makes it theater. I don't mean drama like, oh, deep and dark, though it gets there. But I also mean like you have to have a reason to keep watching, don't you? Um, yeah.
Yeah,
And so if we were just sitting on the stage and holding hands the whole time and talking about how much we loved each other, it would be about 15 minutes long and everybody would demand a refund. And that is not what's happening. We
no,
begin previews on September 24th. So it's even going to keep changing, through the first couple weeks of performances up until we get to opening. Um, and that is also a big thing. You learn in front of an audience when
mhm.
I'm not putting you on the spot, but you did see Dark Disabled Stories, am I right?
Yes, I've
Yeah.
seen them all. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen them all.
Um, First preview of Dark Disabled Stories was 86 minutes, and within a week and a half, we got it down to 74. And those aren't long numbers or big numbers, but it just every single day we were chopping, chipping, shaving excess off so that it was down to its most essential. And
Yeah,
it's it's a little nervy for me to sit here in this chair with you 2 days before we start rehearsal, not knowing. I don't know what's going to stay,
mhm.
what's going to go, what's going to be added that isn't already there.
Right.
But I know that those things will happen because that is the theater making process and that is the new play process. And guess what? If I have had the same joke for 9 years and I really care about it and we do 2 or 3 performances in a row and it never gets a laugh, it's gone. You know, like because the joke
Mhm.
isn't working and I didn't know until I had the audience, you know.
Right, right.
So,
Well, and yeah, you know what? Let's go back to the Dark Disabled Stories because yes, it was my first experience with you and accessibility to that level. I mean,
right.
I was blown away because I'm a Texas girl. So I moved here in 2015 and you can forget accessibility down there, disabled store, all of that stuff is like not really, at least back then, it wasn't really talked about. So when I went to that, the amount that you accomplished with that show just on accessibility alone was
Yes.
phenomenal. Talk to me about that and that decision and how you've done it in every show going forward.
Well, I've done it in different ways in every show going
Yeah,
forward.
there you
And
go.
that's
That's a
important.
good way to put it.
So,
Yes.
so Dark Disabled Stories, began development as a solo piece, and then the pandemic happened, And we had all this extra time, several extra years before we got to performance. And the director, Jordan Fine, and I really were, racking our brains about what is the container, what is the world, the visual world for these stories. And
Mhm.
I, you know, w- we talked about a lot of things. And I said, disabilities in the title, disabled is in the title. We need to make this as accessible as we can. So we decided, yes, it will have captions. Yes, it will have audio description. Um, we want there to be a ASL. We don't know what that means. And then we realized the first time we worked with Alejandra on Zoom at the top of 2021 that she is boisterous and fabulous and has a lot of opinions. And there was no way to sort of contain her presence to merely audio description in a technical and sort of boring-ish way, which isn't, I wouldn't have wanted it to be boring regardless. But I
Right.
knew, oh, there's a woman here with cerebral palsy that has manifested totally different than mine. We need to hear from her in a
Mhm.
substantial way.
Mhm.
And then it made me realize that, okay, so there's two people on stage, and then there will be an interpreter. Wait, wait, wait. No, I want the interpreter to be a deaf actor.
Mhm.
And and then if the deaf actor is on stage, we've got to hear from him too. And
Yeah.
we've got to have access to them and their interiority. So with both of those performers, Dickie Hartz and Alejandro Espina, I sort of crafted these monologues based on what they shared with me. Um,
Mhm.
they're from their lives. Much of them are in their words, and I wrote them into a cohesive piece of text, but like in collaboration with them. So the access was born out of this is what's needed for the play. This is what's best for the play. It's what's going to make the play extraordinary. And
Mhm.
it is also in collaboration with Alison Kopet, who was our Access dramaturg. She also did Hold Me in the Water, and she's
Mhm.
consulting on A Good Time, Charlie. But the reason that I
Okay.
wanted to underline, especially to your audience, hello to your audience, we are going to have a robust amount of accessibility offerings throughout the run of Good Time, Charlie. But it is not, uh, but they are sort of there's a calendar of performances. You can go to publictheater.org and see what all the different offerings are and what dates those offerings are happening. They're offered with frequency, and it's not one and done for the most part. However, it's not every day and it's not everything every day. So, and that is because this is a big play. This is a big multi-character play with a huge set.
Yeah.
And there are seven actors on stage performing nine roles, including myself. So it wouldn't and couldn't all have fit in the container and
Yeah.
been cohesive and both like did the storytelling that needed to be done and provided the best kind of access for the people who needed that access. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
um, it is, there are select accessible performances and there are different offerings at different times, but
Mhm.
it's there and I have not abandoned that. Uh, Something that's very, very important to me and will always be part of my work in a number of ways going forward. But I just knew that this play couldn't, as I now say about Dark Disabled Stories, it could not hold everything everywhere all at once, you know.
Yeah.
And we didn't even do everything there. I mean, you say that we did. I sometimes slip and say that we did, but no one ever can apply 100% access to every single person because you don't know what an individual's needs are. You don't know what the kind of cross section of somebody's needs are, if there are more than one, or if they're three, or they're competing with each other. And so, what has to happen to make this performance totally accessible? We never said that we gave ourselves 100%. We didn't. And so I just don't want people, I certainly don't want a deaf person or a blind person to show up to any performance of Good Time Charlie expecting captions or audio description all the time when it will not be there all the time. So I just, but we're being very clear about that in the marketing and on the website. So, and if you have any questions, of course, you can reach out to the Public Theater box office. Uh, if you're watching this and you see something and you go, I want this and you know, or I need this and which one should I come to based on the list you've provided? Uh, we're always happy. I will not be the one answering the phone, but we at the Public Theater want to still make this as accessible as we can and to honor and stay true to what is required for this play and what this play needs to sort of lift off.
No, and you're very right. You're right. And that in the fact that yes, I say that and I should rephrase that too. It's like you had more accessibility than I had ever seen. That would be a good way to put it. And you're
Oh,
exactly right. I mean, my dream for the world is for whether it's the movies, wherever you're going, that before you go or you get there and they talk to each individual person and say, what do you need in order to be fully present at this show? What can we do for you? Whatever that is, I mean, that would be the dream thing. Like you just walk in and yeah, because you're right. We can't do it all, but you have tried the most. You really have tried the most, and I really appreciate, because I think I even remember Braille programs
yeah.
there. So, and that I had not seen that before. So, no, and I really appreciate it. And I think, also we do need to say that your plays also are not only for the disabled audience. They're
No.
for everyone,
And this and well, and the idea so two things. And again, we're just going to continue to sort of modulate because I don't want to take too much credit.
Right.
Like I have tried the most that you've seen when it comes to mainstream off-Broadway theater. I was deciding whether to say the word mainstream, but it, at a theater company that is not disability specific,
Right.
I as one of the lead artists said this is important, and then I had a whole team around me who made sure that and who made it better than I would have to execute that vision of which didn't just belong to me, but also has been existing in disability spaces for decades. The thing that is significant is that one, dare I say, one might not have often considered uh, significant off-Broadway theater to be a disability space before. And and like the reason we had open access available to anyone was because we wanted to say the access is for you too, even if you are not a member of the quote disabled audience. But this
Yes.
play is not a disability story at all.
Right.
It's a
Right.
family story in which one of the lead characters has cerebral palsy. And what I think is exciting
Mm-hmm.
is we talk about it. I always talk about it. It always comes up in the work, but it is not a point of conflict
Right.
among these family members at all. They have put aside their own, whatever their feelings were about my being disabled by the time you meet me at 6 years old, you know? Uh,
Mhm.
so disability is not part of the plot. It is not a point of dramatic tension. It's there. I can never ignore it. And we do have comedy about it and we do have moments of tension about it, but it's not, oh, this is like this because you're disabled. No, no.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
which is exciting to me.
very much.
I remember when I first, or the second reading we ever did was in Berkeley, California, and Berkeley has a huge community of disabled people, and a lot of them came because they were like, there's a writer performer with CP at, in ground floor at Berkeley Rep. So someone said to me, I love the show. As a gay man, I hugely identify with it, but I don't think your parents are acting like the parents of a disabled child. And I
Mm,
just said, oh, and I said, thank you. Because my
no.
parents don't, why should they? And what is acting like, what does that mean? This individual had one version of what parenting looks like for him in his household. Um,
Mhm.
and mine is totally different. It has been. And I'm representing Bob and Judy Haddad as my mom and dad, not the mom and dad of a disabled kid. I'm a
Yeah,
disabled kid, but they're my parents, and I'm telling that part of the story the way that it exists in my heart and my mind and my memory.
yeah, yeah. That would be a different story. That would be a different story altogether. And yeah, it's definitely, we just have to say it. It's not an inspirational story. It's not one of those type
No.
of disabled stories, which is beautiful. So, you talked about that with your parents, and the beautiful thing here with your collaborations and your family and your support. What would you tell a young disabled performer or writer or actor? What advice would you give them? They're just they're thinking about it. They have a little bit of interest in acting. What would you tell them?
Number one is pursue the opportunities that you want.
Mm,
So if you see yourself in a certain role or you're dying to play a character that isn't traditionally played as disabled, be loud about it. Say it. Go to the audition. Go to the open call. Um, Tell the people in charge, could I please be seen for this? Would you would you consider me for this? Now, we don't always get access to the people in charge to be able to do that, but just even I think back to being in college and saying to somebody, I want to play this. And they
mhm.
went, "You for that?" And I went, "Yeah." And then
Oh,
they let me audition, and then I got it. Now,
wow.
it did happen to be a grandmother in a wheelchair, and I think they couldn't understand why I wanted to play the grandmother, but I said, "This is perfect for me." So, they didn't see me as a grandmother. Maybe most people didn't, but I saw a Sondheim opportunity and I wanted it. Uh, but I made it known that I wanted it. A,
Wow.
and you got to work hard, and you have to hone your craft, and you have to take voice lessons, and you have to uh, make sure that you're presenting a kind of quality of work that makes it undeniable that you could potentially play that role,
Mm,
whatever it happens to be. You can't just say, I want this, and then not have the skill to back it up. That's not going to work. And number two is if you're not landing the opportunities that you feel you're right for, then in whatever way it is, it doesn't have to mirror what my career has been, but you have to make the opportunities for yourself. And that's true of any artist, especially now in this sort of precarious time in live performance and media and television and film. You know, finances have contracted, opportunities are much less than they were pre-COVID and even or post-COVID, but pre-strike for TV and film. And so sometimes you need to just like make the product
yeah.
and show it to people to as a showcase to show what you can do. If somebody else is not saying, I'd like you to do this, you can say, I will do this. And will
Mhm.
you watch it? Because I've
Yeah,
made it, so will you watch it?
yeah.
And then you don't know what's going to come from after that. But those are the two big pieces of advice is be loud about the things that you want and the opportunities that you feel you're right for because it's uh, as disabled performers we simply will not be the first people that come to mind for those who make the decisions and second is if you don't see the opportunity that you want make it for yourself.
Love it. Love it. Well, I think that's a great way to end. What if people want to stay abreast about what's going on with you? How do they follow you?
You can follow me at Ryan J Haddad, Haddad, and you can catch Good Time Charlie beginning performances September 24th at the Public Theater in New York City. And you can go to publictheater.org for more information. That's theater spelled with an R. Nope. Ooh, that's theater spelled with an E-R. Public Theater is spelled with an E-R. This is my first interview for this show. So my
Josh, you have no idea how happy this makes me because I still do the same thing. So I appreciate it. Yes, but that is go. I will put the link in the description for everyone. So there's
thank
no confusion. This has been such a gift. I really appreciate your time. And you will definitely see me at the show. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to do it, and I'll see you there.